Salvete Discipuli. Today you are going to be taking your quiz on chapter 11. So before you do that, I'm going to review just a couple of things with you that you need to know, that you will need to know for your quiz. So here we go. You are going to need to be on page 75 in your books. So if you're not already there, go ahead and get there. Remember, you can use your book on your quiz, so it's helpful to go ahead and have that open. All right, so this week, the main thing that we learned about was third conjugation verbs. So first, I want you to start on page 74, which is your vocabulary list. And I want you to check out the verbs there for just a moment. And we're gonna first review how to figure out the conjugation of each, or the pattern of each. So the most important thing to remember is to always go to the second form to find the conjugation and the stem. That's gonna tell you both. So you're going to go to the second form of a verb. For example, let's do curo, the very first one. We have curo, curere. So you're going to go to the second form, curere, and find the stem. So that would mean take off the RE. And the stem you have left is cure, C-U-R-R-E. And that E at the end of your stem does not have a long mark. And that means that you're in third conjugation. Most of your verbs this week are third conjugation. So most of them follow that pattern. First conjugation verbs, that stem is going to end in an A. So an example is circumdo, circumdare. And then second conjugation verbs like teneo at the bottom of your list, teneo, tenere. That stem is also going to end in an E, but it does have a long mark on it. And so first and second conjugation verbs are the ones that use just the normal endings that we have all year. Third conjugation verbs are where it gets a little different. So your stem, let's stick with curo, curere. Your stem is cure, C-U-R-R-E, no long mark on that E. So that means that you're gonna use new third conjugation endings, and you can find those at the top of page 76. So the thing about third conjugation that you have to remember is that for conjugating, when you put it in that chart, that E on the end of your stem is very significant. That E, since it has no long mark, gets dropped. It drops completely out. So for example, if you look at the top of page 76, they have done mito for you. And mito is another third conjugation verb. So the stem would be, you would go to mito, mitere. You would take off the RE and you're left with an E on the end of your stem, no long mark, so third conjugation. So your stem would be mite with an E at the end, but since it's third conjugation, that E drops out. If it's no long mark, it drops out. So if you look at the top of page 76 in that chart, you won't see an E in the conjugation of mito. Instead, you're gonna see an I, and that's because of the new endings. So your new endings are o, is, it, imus, itis, unt. And so you're gonna wanna make sure that you drop that E first and then add on those endings. So those are the present tense third conjugation endings. There is a spot for that in your reference sheet if you'd like to put it there. If not, you can just look at the top of page 76. But it might help you to have the endings separate from a word just so that you can see them. To translate this chart, you would do it just like you would a normal present tense verb. You're going to use your normal pronouns, I, you, he, she, or it, we, y'all, they, and whatever the verb means. So in mito's case, you would say the first person singular there, mito, would mean I send. Second person singular, mitis, would be you send, and so on and so forth. So you translate it exactly like you would a normal present tense verb. That doesn't change. The only thing that changes is the endings. And if you look at the endings, o, is, it, imus, itis, unt, they actually end with the present tense endings that you already know, ost, nust, tis, nt. And you can go ahead and sing the song if you want to. There's just an I in front of most of those. So they're very similar sounding. So they shouldn't be super new to you, but just the tricky part is remembering to take off that E on the stem when you conjugate third conjugation verbs. Second, we learned about prepositions, and the thing to know about prepositions is just If you go back to page 75, in parentheses next to your preposition list, you'll see a case, either accusative or ablative. And that's going to tell you what the object of that preposition will be in Latin. So for example, you would take odd. If you see it in a Latin sentence, the object of the preposition will be in the accusative case. And that's all that means. So hopefully that's not too tricky. And so make sure you do go ahead and take your quiz today, get it over with, and I will see you later. Walete discipuli.